You think you know what you're asking when you ask, why does the earth pull things down? You don't. And until you understand why your question is fundamentally broken, you're going to be frustrated by every answer anyone gives you, including mine. People come to me looking for a simple explanation, something they can hold in their hands like a piece of fruit. They want me to say gravity is like a string, or a magnet, or a vacuum cleaner sucking you toward the center of the earth. They want a familiar thing, but here is the first truth you must accept. There is no familiar thing. Before we go deeper, you must understand that what you are hearing is a voice synthesized through artificial intelligence. And while the foundations of this explanation are built upon my original theories, they have been modified and expanded to align with the cutting-edge physics of 2026. If you find this exploration of reality valuable, ensure you subscribe to this channel to continue uncovering the mysteries of our universe. I'm not being difficult, and I'm not trying to be mysterious. I'm telling you the truth that most people don't want to hear. Gravity isn't a force. It isn't a pull. There is no thing reaching out to grab you. Gravity is bedrock. It is the very shape of existence itself. When you ask why gravity works, you are asking for a story. But the universe doesn't tell stories. It follows a geometry. Let me show you the problem with your intuition. Stand up. Right now. Just stand there and jump. Feel that tug? That invisible hand dragging you back to the floor? You've spent your whole life calling that gravity. You've heard the old explanations, the bowling ball on a trampoline. It's a nice picture. It's what we show children in school because it's easy to look at. But it's a lie. It's a beautiful, elegant lie that uses gravity to explain gravity. Why does the bowling ball curve the trampoline? Because gravity pulls it down. It's circular logic. It's a description of the symptom, not an explanation of the cause. You need to understand the difference between those two things, or this entire conversation is pointless. If you really want to understand, we have to go back to the most important thought I ever had. I was sitting in my office in Bern, looking out the window, and I imagined a man falling from a roof. It sounds like a tragedy, but for me, it was a revelation. I realized that if a man falls, he does not feel his own weight. To the man falling, gravity has ceased to exist. Let's try a more modern experiment. Imagine you're in a lift high up in a skyscraper. The cable snaps. You're plummeting toward the earth. For those few seconds, you are floating. You reach into your pocket, take out a coin, and you let go of it. Does it drop to the floor? No. It stays right there, hovering next to your nose. You and the coin and the lift are all in free fall. You feel no weight, no pull, no pressure on your feet. In that moment, gravity has vanished from your local reality. Now, why? The average person will say, because you and the coin and the lift are all falling at the same speed. That's the high school answer. It's not wrong because of the math, but it's wrong because it misses the point entirely. The truth is much weirder. You feel weightless because in that lift, you are finally moving in a straight line. You are moving exactly the way the universe wants you to move when nothing is interfering with you. When you are standing on the ground, you think you are at rest. You feel like you're just sitting there doing nothing. But you aren't. You are being violently accelerated. The floor beneath your feet is pushing you up constantly, thousands of times a second, breaking your natural path through the universe. You don't feel gravity pulling you down. You feel the earth pushing you up. You've spent your whole life thinking the floor is a stable, passive surface. But in reality, the ground is a barrier that is constantly hitting you in the feet, preventing you from following your natural curve through space-time. You're starting to get uncomfortable now. Your brain is trying to find a way back to the pulling force. You're thinking, if the earth isn't pulling me, then why do I hit the ground when I jump? This is where we reach the bedrock. This is where we talk about the time well. For a century, we talked about curved space. We pictured 3D grids bending. But as we stand here in 2026, looking back at everything we've learned from atomic clocks and GPS satellites, we know that's only the smallest part of the story. The dominant part of gravity, the part that actually makes you hit the floor, isn't the curving of space, it's the warping of time. Time is not a universal clock that ticks the same for everyone. Time is a fluid. It has a density. And mass, a planet, a star, a black hole, acts like a heavy weight in that fluid. It makes time flow slower the closer you get to the mass. This isn't a theory. We've proven it. We've put atomic clocks on the bottom floor of a skyscraper and another on the top floor. The clock at the bottom, closer to the center of the earth, ticks slower. Right now, as you read this, your feet are literally aging slower than your head. It's a tiny, tiny difference, nanoseconds over a lifetime, but your physical body feels it. Your existence isn't just a point in space. You are a four-dimensional object stretching through time. Because the bottom of you, your feet, is trying to move through time at a different rate than the top of you, your head, your entire being tilts. Gravity is just the name we give to that tilt. It is the refraction of your life path toward the place where time moves slowest. Think of a car driving from a paved road into a patch of sand on one side. The wheels in the sand slow down while the wheels on the pavement keep their speed. What happens? The car turns into the sand. This is exactly what the earth is doing to you. You are moving through time, and because the time sand is thicker near the earth, you naturally curve toward it. You aren't being pulled to earth. You are falling into the future, and in our part of the universe, the future is down. Now, I know what you are going to ask next. You are going to ask, but why does mass slow down time? What is the mechanism? And here is where I have to be like Feynman. Here is where I have to tell you that you are looking for a door where there is only a wall. We have modern theories that are beautiful. We have emergent gravity, which suggests that gravity isn't a fundamental force at all, but a statistical result of quantum information being tangled together. We have loop quantum gravity, which says space is made of tiny, discrete atoms of geometry. We have string theory, which says everything is a vibration. But even those theories, as advanced as they are, eventually hit bedrock. Eventually, you reach a point where the only honest answer is, this is the fundamental structure of the game. In 1915, I wrote down the field equations. They are a set of 10 interlocking mathematical statements that describe how matter and energy tell space-time how to curve, and how that curvature tells matter how to move. For over 100 years, every time someone has tried to prove them wrong, The universe has whispered, "No, this is how I work." We have tested these equations to an accuracy of 11 decimal places. We have photographed black holes. We have detected gravitational waves, ripples in the very fabric of nothingness caused by stars colliding billions of light years away. But despite all that power, we cannot give you a comfortable explanation. We can't say it's like anything else you've ever experienced, because you've never experienced anything else like it. You live your whole life inside the curvature. Asking what gravity is like asking a fish what water is like. The fish has no words for it, because there is no place the fish has ever been where the water isn't. Your intuition is a tool. It evolved over millions of years to help your ancestors throw rocks at gazelles and avoid falling off cliffs. It is a brilliant tool for survival on a macroscopic scale in a world of low speeds and weak gravity. But your intuition was never designed to understand the time well. It was never designed to accept that weight is a temporal illusion, or that straight lines are actually curved paths through a four-dimensional landscape. When physics reveals something that violates your common sense, like the fact that you stay on the ground because your feet are younger than your head, you have a choice. You can reject the truth because it doesn't feel right. Or you can do what the greatest minds of the last century have done. You can build a new mathematical common sense. You can learn to see the world not as a collection of objects being pulled by invisible strings, but as a magnificent, shimmering fabric where here and now are part of the same thread. Let me tell you what real understanding looks like. It isn't a warm, fuzzy feeling of aha. It is the cold, hard reality of prediction. The same equations I wrote in a notebook in Berlin are the reason your GPS works today. If the engineers who built those satellites didn't account for general relativity, if they didn't account for the fact that time moves faster for the satellite up there than it does for your phone down here, your GPS would be off by 10 kilometers after just one day. The system would be useless. That is not philosophy. That is not a metaphor. That is the universe speaking to us in the only language it truly uses, mathematics. That is power. That is the control over nature that comes from accepting reality as it is, rather than how we wish it to be. The most beautiful thing people miss is the unification. We spend so much time talking about gravity as if it's a separate thing, a problem to be solved. But it's the great connector. The same warp in time that keeps your feet on the floor is the same warp that keeps the moon in orbit around the Earth. It's the same warp that keeps the Earth in orbit around the Sunday. It's the same warp that governs the birth of galaxies and the expansion of the entire universe. It isn't a failure of science that we can't tell you why mass curves time in a way that sounds like a bedtime story. It is the ultimate success of science that we have found the bedrock. We have found the deep mathematical structure beneath the chaos of our senses. People called my ideas unintuitive. They called them impossible. They said a man of common sense could never believe that time slows down or that space bends. But sometimes the most honest answer a scientist can give, the most respectful answer, is that the universe simply doesn't work the way you expect. It is deeper, weirder, and far more elegant than your common sense could ever imagine. If you want to understand reality, you have to let go of your need for a comfortable explanation. You have to stop looking for the pull. So, stand up one last time. Jump. Feel that push against your soles when you land. You aren't feeling a force. You aren't being grabbed by a planet. You are feeling the curvature of time itself. You are feeling the fact that you are an inhabitant of a four-dimensional masterpiece. That isn't mysterious. It is magnificent. And the fact that we tiny, short-lived creatures on a small blue rock can describe that masterpiece, test it, and use it to find our way home, that is what understanding actually looks like.